quiero que nadie se ofenda, pero hasta que no estás aquí dentro no sabes la grandeza de este equipo.
Só nós sentimos assim. Por muitos desgostos que possamos ter, valores mais altos se levantam. O valor mais alto que se levanta em termos futebolísticos chama-se Benfica.
Good evening. Welcome to episode 33 of Therapy, Counseling, whatever you want to call it. Got the normal crew today. Are going to cover a few different topics. We'll also be joined by Max from Melbourne, Australia, on the second half of the show to talk about Thursday's game in Rome against Arsenal. For those of you who watched it after the draw, he was on and gave us his thoughts as well. So it should be an interesting conversation. Today we're going to talk briefly about the Estoril game, and when I say briefly, just mention the result. We won 3-1 away in the first leg of the Taça de Portugal semifinal, I believe it is, semifinal.
First leg, yeah.
First leg, yep. So up 3-1. We got second game in 2-3 weeks, but obviously that's the least of our focus today. We'll talk about yesterday's 1-1 draw against Moreirense, get thoughts, opinions. Kenny's already getting some stick here, comments about the Cowboys pullover. Get your thoughts, opinions on that game. Those of you guys in the chat, give us your thoughts about yesterday's game, your opinions, your thoughts, how you felt. If you need to vent, let us know. We're here for it. We're going to vent together. Hopefully we'll feel better when we come out of this. And before we get started, of course, Exotic Dream Rental, don't forget, check them out on Facebook. You can book directly through their Facebook page. Let Patrick know we sent you. Save $10 per day per rental. So let them know. Exotic Dream Rental. Check them out on Facebook. So let's get to the disappointment here. So we go into Moreirense. First game we played them. One of our better performances probably this season in terms of offensive production. We didn't score. We won 2-0 at home, but we created chance after chance in the home game. We just weren't able to put it away. Yesterday, we go into it with a starting lineup of Elton Late starting in goal over Odysseus, Grimaldo starting on the left, Otamendi, Vertonghen in the middle. Diogo Gonçalves starts in place of Gilberto, who JJ said he had some muscle fatigue. He didn't even get called up for the game. Rafa, Weigl, Tarat, Everton, Seferovic, and Darwin up top again. A duo that I don't think works well together, but we'll get you guys' thoughts and opinions on that. I know Oscar was upset Pizzi wasn't in there. I know that some people questioned why Odysseus wasn't in there. Overall, I thought, in my opinion, and again, I'll open it up to you guys. We can have a discussion here. But in my opinion, I thought Benfica had a first half that was very good. In the second half, they kind of dropped off. Moreirense tied the game from a play, probably their only play in the first half. They probably don't even know how the hell they tied that game going into halftime. Again, we missed opportunities. Rafa, that first one in the 10 minutes or whatever the hell it is. I mean, that's two. Yeah, but the first one is just ridiculous. Like, it's almost like you don't want to think about it, but it's almost like he does it on purpose. Like, how do you not even hit the net from there? He's probably about 8 yards out. It's shocking. But overall, correct. I don't think the result, I think, was far worse than what I think, deserved. Did we play great? No. Did we do enough to win? I think so. And I think there are some other cases there that we can discuss as well. So I'll open it up to Kenny in the top right. So I'll start with you.
All right. So I'm going to start off with a question, right? So I already called the season like two games ago, are you guys finally calling it? Or are you guys still like, oh, we're gonna go undefeated the rest of the
No.
second half?
We're done.
Because
We're cooked.
because
I don't think so.
We're gonna be fighting for third, dude.
because this is
Hold on, we need to
the
hear Oscar's answer. We need to hear is Sporting.
He's still silent.
Is
He
Sporting
doesn't-
for real
his-
still?
He doesn't know what to
his
say,
answer
dude.
is it's Jesus' fault. I already know his answer.
But what he's saying, answer the question, Oscar, is Benfica completely out? Do you throw the white flag? And do you think Sporting is for real yet?
All right.
Hold on, just answer the question, then you can get into your analysis.
I'm right now. Sporting, like, and I'll admit it, Sporting has the best chances they ever had to win a campeonato. Ever had. Well,
He can't get himself to say it.
Do I still? No. This is since I've been watching soccer. Other than 2001 when Jardel was there and João Pinto. This is probably the only time the Sporting be. Hey, there's for you to win right there. And if they don't take advantage of this year, then they're the biggest floppers I've ever fucking seen in a sports team. Okay.
Yeah.
But do you think they're for real?
Right now, they're the favorite to win the campeonato. Yes.
He still
Okay.
can't say it. Do you
that's-
think they're for real?
If your favorite to win for the campeonato is not real.
Yeah,
Just say it in another way.
I give it to him.
Okay.
All right.
So,
Carry on.
But okay, go ahead.
No. Well, I'll be
You'll get your
short,
chance.
right? I'll be short. I mean, this is the exact Benfica I've seen all year. A team that can't put games away. Yeah, you can complain about a PK here or there or whatever, but at the end of the day, they should do enough to put these teams away. They just don't. They don't have the full. I don't think they have the quality on the team to do it. I think Jesus has messed up with the starting lineup way too much. It's very inconsistent. It's just like I said. It's more of the same old. And that's really it. I mean, there's nothing else for me to say. I mean, we've talked about it before. I already called the season a weeks ago. I think they're not going to put a long streak. Like, they're just going to win a couple of games, have a bad loss or have a bad tie, and it's going to they're going to lose momentum. So that's pretty much. I mean, we've had enough time to turn things around. And one thing I will say too, listening to Jesus like 1 week, 3-1 against Estoril, it's like, the team's turned the page. Like, we're getting better, we're getting stronger. You can see it on the field. And then, no, dude, it's just talk. It's talk. The team is the same team from the beginning of the season. After, I wouldn't say the beginning of the season. We did start off pretty hot, but I would say it's much of the same old, and there's no change in sight. I don't see a change in sight.
Jay, I'm going to leave Oscar for last.
I have a question for you, Ken. So
yeah.
This you are almost on the same page as I am when it comes to this Jesus thing, right? So I saw the stats from the game against Moreirense in the first leg, right? And like Mike said, we completely demolished them. It was like 76% possession. Mm-hmm. We had like 8 clear chances of scoring goals plus any other half chances, right? And compared to this team that played yesterday, like, what the fuck changed? I mean, Jesus been there for six months now.
I agree.
At the beginning, they were creating chances. Now they're not creating chances. So what's Jesus doing to this team? The same players.
Yeah, I agree.
Other than Ruben Dias, same exact players are there. Andre Almeida, but our defense is not to blame. Our defense, the goal, yesterday's goal was Grimaldo's fault. Tank, I gave it to you, okay?
100%.
But
200%.
Yeah.
Finally, you guys fucking blame it on someone else.
No. I give it to Grimaldo. But Grimaldo,
holy shit.
I blame it on Nuno Tavares because if he was better, Grimaldo wouldn't be starting.
But it's Grimaldo's fault. But Grimaldo is still like nothing to do with Diogo Gonçalves, okay? And that was Andre Almeida's spot. And nothing to do with the Mendy because that was the Ruben Dias spot. So other than those two guys, I mean, other than Grimaldo, who sucked yesterday, the team is the same. I don't get it.
Dude, the thing is, like, I really don't think it's the coach. It's something. All right, so something to me, it has to do a little bit with the coach, but this has happened to 2 coaches already, and it's happening again. Like
three.
Yeah, but like it happened 2, but it's happening again right now, so that would make it 3. So like they're just falling apart. So, like slowly, like this season's starting to look like last season. It's already starting to begin like it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And I'll tell you this: and if it keeps continuing like this, it's going to end up a lot worse than it did last season because we're not going to end up in second place. We're gonna end up in like 5th or 6th, and that's gonna
Jay,
be
what were your thoughts in the game?
overall. Like which one? Like Estoril, I thought we like that game. I thought we played
No, the
well.
Moreirense game. We're past the Estoril.
That game. I have no words. It's the same. It's like what Kenny said. It's the inconsistency. They give you like 20, 30 minutes of good soccer, and then shit for like. It's just like I don't get it. They can't find the second goal, or they can't go up 2-0 without getting a goal conceded, or I don't know, dude. It's just starting to be more and more frustrating with this team. It's continue the same problems, the same issues. I think our center mids need to be completely revamped. Like we need to go out and buy like 4 new ones or something. Like this is pathetic.
Yeah. Can I just say something else? So Delphi, a team of 2 different halves, right? Second halves for Benfica have been awful lately. I mean, pretty much the whole year. Not putting games away. And you look at the other teams, right? You look at Sporting. You look at Porto. Look at Porto the other day with they were down 2-0. Okay? Granted, they got a couple of calls here and there. But still, you saw – I called it. I'm like, Porto's coming back in this game. I'm like, who do they play again? Boavista. I'm like, Boavista's going to have to score a third one if they want to keep the result. Porto, Sporting, 10 minutes in a game, and you know that they're going to score. They either tie it or get a result, right? Benfica, they're lucky if they get a shot on net. Okay, they sit there with no urgency. It's pathetic, dude. We
usually concede. Yeah. That's the problem. We're usually down 1-0. Like we don't get up. We don't get off to good starts either. I agree. And I'll tell you this. I think Mike mentioned it earlier. Rafa had the perfect fucking opportunity back to back, even against Estoril. I even marked it. The 12th minute in the 15th minute, he fucking shanked them both. And then he did the exact same thing. He did everything right, but then he fucking shot the ball. I was like, dude, come on.
Kid can't shoot, man.
It's ridiculous. Sorry, Oscar. I know you were about to say.
Oscar, let's hear it. Poirier, I know you got a lot of stuff built up in there.
I said this in. You guys might remember this. I actually texted you guys about this at the beginning of the season when we had this winning streak and we're getting results, and then when we were not winning on a winning streak, we were getting results like somehow, right? And we said, guys, we're getting these results, and then you guys, what's better? What's better, the result or the soccer we play? What's better? Yeah. I'm like, the luck runs out. The luck runs out. Guys, don't pay attention. And then I even said against the Rangers and the fucking Standard Liège, the fucking teams we tied, like junk ass teams we tied, right? We were losing, but we came back and got a result. We got a result. We did not deserve that result. We were not looking for that result. The result came to us because of a play that Luka did to Darwin, and a breakaway, and he scored a goal. We were not creating chances to come back to that game. We just got lucky to tie that game, right? So the luck was going to run out. It was a matter of time, and we did not improve the soccer, and the luck ran out. So now where we are right now, we're fighting for 4th.
Yeah,
and sad. And to be honest, Milton brings up, and like someone else brought it up too down below. We have no leadership on this team, like nothing. Like I feel like it's just a bunch of guys going out there doing their own thing. I feel like I said it before too. I feel like they have an agenda, but when it comes to playing the game, they don't know what the fuck to do. And it's like, and it shows. Like we play 20 good minutes of soccer, and then after that, nothing.
Yeah. Glenn, the Arsenal fan listening to us, said, "Goodness, there's more depression here. I thought you guys would be more positive than us." We at the time of the draw, things were a little bit better. Now it's like reversed roles. Now things are a little bit difficult. But when Max joins us, I'm sure he'll have some hot takes for us for sure. I want to talk about the 2 moments of the game. The Weigl one first. I don't know what you guys think of it. I've seen the replay about 86 times. I have a video of it. He gets hit in the foot. He doesn't fall immediately, and then he takes a couple steps and then decides to fall, which he then gets punished for not going to ground straight away. And then VAR decides they're going to show the ref the wrong images, which Sport TV even admitted to that after the fact as well, that they didn't show him the correct image when he went to go review it, which they end up canceling the penalty, which I'm not surprised. And then the Vertonghen one, I mean, I don't understand how that's not a penalty. Again, I'm not here complaining that Benfica is the way they are because of bad calls, right? They've missed calls in our favor. I don't disagree with that. I'm sure there's been calls that have been in our favor, right? It's not because of that Benfica is in the situation they're in. Benfica should be doing much better, should be playing much better, should be getting better results. But when shit isn't going your way and you can't even get like that one fucking call, it's basically like, what the fuck, right? Like you can't even get one simple call in your direction to help at least give you something to hold on to. I don't know if you guys thought the same with those two calls.
No, I can start with this. All right, we have Tabarat in the middle of the field opening up his arms and hitting people.
Tabarat.
What the fuck his name is? And it should be a red card from our position, from a Sporting fans and Porto fans should be a red card every single time. Every single time there's a slap on the face or the guy opens his arms, is a red card. Adel Tabarat, whatever the fuck his name is. And nobody now that the guy spread his arms and hit Vertonghen on the head, that's fine. That's no problem. That's just hey, it's part of soccer. Like, let it go. Keep it going. Fuck that.
So my take on the Weigl one, for me, I think it would be a soft PK. Now, I think it's to discretion of whichever ref, right? Every ref's going to look at that differently. Whether it's right or wrong, they're going to look at it differently. For me, at least the Weigl one, they got VAR and they had him go look at it for a second review, right? The Vertonghen one wasn't even flagged for a review. There was.
You guys can see it here on the screen, right?
Yeah. It's like
he fucking smacks him.
Well,
Tank, you're muted.
The thing is,
you're
Tank,
muted.
you're
Tank, you're muted.
You're talking to this guy.
You're
I seen
pointing.
that take 3 yellow cards on the exact same play that I'm seeing right
Yeah.
now.
But the ref called the same play 2 times in the game. Once against Moreirense at the beginning, and then Taarabt got called for it about 10 minutes later.
Yeah, 10 minutes later, same exact play. There's a foul on Taarabt right outside our box for a free kick. Another dangerous play for Moreirense to score a goal. The same exact hand motion, everything, smack to the face. So it does not, and we said it while we were watching the game. We're like, watch, there's gonna be one just like this against us, and because it's in the middle of the field and not inside the box, they're gonna call it, and it happened 10 minutes later. So for me, it's
this is the Weigl one.
What's going on?
Right here. If he goes to ground there,
the problem is he doesn't go to ground.
Correct.
I hate this call. Okay, if he goes to ground first, fine. If he stands up a little bit and he falls like that, no PK.
But what I'm saying is he gets punished for not going to ground straight away.
Exactly, but
then VAR doesn't show the ref this image; they showed the after the fact.
Yeah, he showed a dive, which I agree. Every single player that dives like that should get a yellow card. Every single player, doesn't matter who it is. If he went to the ground because he got fouled, fine. But because he could stand up and still keep going, he tried to keep going, and then he fell because, oh shit, I can get a PK. Yellow card, fuck you.
He did get one, right?
Yeah, he got
one.
It's his 5th yellow.
So that's my thing. At least VAR, like that's what I don't understand, right? VAR chimed in and said to go look at this one. The other one, the Vertonghen one, didn't even get a VAR review. Nothing. They didn't, even after the play stopped, they didn't go look back at that, which is mind-boggling to me because that's a clear PK.
I know the solution for that though. We have to put Bosch all over our stadium, and maybe a video of the ref's house.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, right? Like the thing that pissed me off is like again, everyone gets calls in their favor, others don't get calls in their favor. At the end of the season, it probably ends up leveling out. But the fact that again, even when things aren't going in your favor, I thought Benfica did enough to fucking win. Moreirense had their goal, and in the last 10 minutes, they had a couple of chances, which I guess talking about that, when Weigl came off the field, Benfica's midfield was non-existent. Like, we completely lost control of that game. I don't know if you guys noticed that. And then, Oscar, this is a good one for you to talk about because I'm sure you weren't happy. Servi coming in like the 95th minute, and then when they asked JJ in the press conference, he says he thought I had more time.
Dude, this douche get the fuck out. I fucking can't stand that guy. I can't stand him. He's probably the worst coach I've ever.
Mike, why did you just ask him that question?
That's fucking worst coach. I can't stand him. That substitution coming in at the 95th minute is legit slapping the guy's face. If I was Servi, I would have told the listener to fuck off and not play one more game.
Is it not concerning for you guys the fact that a coaching staff that's making $10 million, and you say that you thought you had more time?
I think it's brain.
The Chico is counting the seconds instead of the fucking clock.
It's like Biden, man. His brain's
I think it's just him giving some news out there for it.
And then let me ask you a question. Why Weigl got the 5th yellow, right? So he's out next game. Why take him out of the game?
I don't know why he came out either.
Yeah, why take him out of the game? He's our best midfielder today. Why take him out when he took him out?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We lost that whole midfield as soon, and then when he came out, Benfica basically resorted to long balls, and we created nothing. We had one play that Waldschmidt created, that Darwin had that header, and the goalie pulled a goddamn save out of his ass.
Apart from that was the only chance we created the whole second.
Right, after Weigl came out.
That's like, how is that enough for a team that's losing or needs to win a game? How is that enough for a team that wasted $100 million on the freaking squad? How is that enough?
I agree. I don't disagree.
He's pissed.
What Milton, I think it was Milton up here, he said, or it might have been Brandon, where the heck is it? Asked about, here, Everton, who wants to talk about this. Again, he was another one who, he just seems to be
garbage.
He just seems to be so inconsistent. He shows up for 10 minutes and then he disappears for 2 games.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
I'll tell you guys one thing about Everton. If the team is playing well, I think Everton will be a huge piece for our team. If the team is playing bad, I don't see him bringing the team back up or being that guy like a Simão was. When the team is playing bad, you step up and scores a goal, a free kick or not. I don't see Everton doing that. I see Everton playing really good ball if the team is playing well, because he fits right into the offensive style of soccer, and everything is going their way, and he gets all confidence. But without that, he sucks. He's just an average guy. He doesn't know he's not that guy that can bring the team back from the low.
It's definitely not his style for sure. What we're doing right now is definitely not fitting his game.
Yeah.
But wouldn't we expect a guy, a Brazilian international, with the experience that he has? I mean, he's still young, but he's got quite a bit of experience, to be one of those guys to try to grab the team by the scruff of the neck and say, "Give me the ball, let's get forward." Right? Like,
that's what I
wouldn't
thought.
you expect that from someone like him?
I don't see it this year. I can see it probably if he has a few years under his belt with us. I don't see it this year, and I don't see it anytime soon.
Expectation. I think that's what we all expected, but it's not reality. I mean, he has not shown it. I mean, he's scored a couple of goals, nice goals, and he had that little weave, the assist, right, when he weaved in the box. I think it was against, I don't know, one recent game. He had like a little, moment of brilliance.
Estoril.
Was it Estoril? Yeah.
Estoril.
So yeah, little brilliant little thing there, but you see it, but you don't see him putting a full game together. I don't think I've seen him put a complete, package yet.
I'll go as far as saying, with this team we have today, we replaced Everton with a Neymar, and I don't think Neymar shines.
No, the thing is, when we talk about Darwin, we bring up a price tag. Everton's price tag needs to be brought up as well, because we paid a pretty penny for absolute shit. At least Darwin scores goals and gives assists, which I know Oscar doesn't like, but at least he does something. This 20 million gets the most minutes out of everyone. He doesn't do shit.
It's easier to evaluate. He's comparing Darwin and Everton's price tag. It's easier to compare. It's easier to criticize Darwin because you can put the price tag against goals, because you're expecting goals, right? Everton's different. You don't expect him to score all the time. You just expect a good performance.
But you don't even get good performances from his ass.
I agree. He should be getting as much criticism as Darwin. If anything, Everton was I thought the biggest hype signing, right? He's the one that came with all the Brazilian international, this and that. Darwin came as the young kid. So I agree. Everton should deserve just as much criticism as Darwin.
What do you guys think?
Is there any reason whatsoever why Sevi couldn't start this game?
Sevi should have started over fucking whoever was playing on the left.
I just don't.
It would have been Everton.
I think Jesus must not like when he's like picking his squad. He must not see him. Like Sedevi's like a short guy in the background. Like he's like picking his guys. He doesn't
Back
see
of the
him
room.
in the lineup.
Deixa eu
Yeah,
pequeno no banco, deixa eu pequeno no
yeah, he
banco.
must forget. Like, oh shit, Sedevi even on the. Oh shit, I have Sedevi on the bench. Let me put him in the 95th minute. Like,
I know, but
meio esquecido.
you have to think about like Sevi's been like since he's been playing, Benfica's actually looked like alive. The Benfica looked like, oh shit, we might get our momentum back. All of a sudden, off the line, up it goes, and there we go back to the same bullshit.
Yeah.
Kenny, what else were you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I agree with Jay's point earlier about like some of the players that have been on the team. It is sad that we're going through this, and you don't hear from Pizzi again. I don't know if there's protocols to this, but you don't hear from Pizzi. You don't hear from Rafa. I feel like Rafa too. He turns it on and turns it off whenever he wants to play. If Pizzi's not playing, I feel like Rafa doesn't care about soccer. He has a piss poor game. So I feel like the Pizzis, the Rafas, some of these guys that have been here for a while, I think it's unfortunately time to like cut the cord and like ship them out, because I just think there's something in the locker room. There's a divide. Something's going on. I agree. I was on the fence with Jesus. I'm like over the fence now. I'm on Oscar's side. I think Jesus is to blame on this, but I also think, I mean, like Tank said, this isn't Jesus' problem, right? This was happening before Jesus, and it has to do with the players that have been there for a while. And I think there's a big divide. And these, like Pizzi and Rafa, to me, like, what's going on? Step up for your team. You've been here forever. You're Portuguese. You're supposed to live by the Mente Sagrado, and you're over here like, you don't give it. Like, I feel like no one cares. It's pathetic.
Yeah, they don't have no leader on that.
I know Oscar was upset that Pizzi didn't start, but I'll be honest, I didn't notice he did anything when he came in either. I don't know if you guys had the same opinion. I know the one play that comes to mind is the one that he made a terrible pass in midfield, and they came down the field. I mean, passed it right to the guy in midfield. But again, it's just, and I wanted to touch on that. Kenny brought up a good point. Is again, I know JJ is the face of it. He's the guy that's on the sideline. He's the guy that picks the team. He's made bad decisions. It seems that every time he touches the team, he doesn't improve it. I feel like they get worse. But again, I feel like we're overlooking the bigger issue here. For me, and those of you guys in the chat, chime in if you agree or disagree. But for me, the problem at Benfica has a mustache, and he sits in the press box looking uninterested. Benfica invested $100 million this offseason. We've said it here before. Net spend ended up being like $50 million. Okay. We invested the largest amount of money we've ever invested in a pandemic year, and we are 13 points behind a club that has 70% of their academy in their squad. Okay. That didn't spend a lot of money. We've gone through a very rough stage in the last 2-3 months, and they send out emails every day. They come out with comunicados. They came out with one again today. Rui Costa came out and spoke. Luizão has been seen after the game yelling at the team. Where is the president? Before the elections, this guy was everywhere, up and down the country, on every TV station. He took every opportunity he could to get in front of the camera. And today, he has yet to show his face in the moment that we currently are. The least he could do is come out and say, listen, I'm going to own it. We made some bad decisions. We're fixing it. Whatever the case may be, this guy is hiding behind everyone. Why? He is the problem. They burned Rui Vitória. They burned Bruno Lage. And they are burning JJ. The difference is JJ has a different mentality, and he'll have a little bit more control of that locker room. And I think that at the end of the season, if he lasts, which I think he will, I think it'll have to take an absolute catastrophe for them to get rid of him. But I think at the end of the season, if he's still there, there's going to be a huge shakeup in that locker room, because I don't see JJ being the personality of a Rui Vitória or a Bruno Lage that's just like, okay, the president said that, we got to go with it. I don't know if you guys think differently, but I think we're overlooking the issue because JJ is the face of it, right? He's there. He's the one that speaks to the people. He speaks to the journalists. But this problem is further up the chain, and we continue to like disregard it. Like, let's put everything in the past behind us. Let's leave it there. He did great things. He got us out of some difficult times. You know, all of us who grew up in the 90s, we went through stress, some depression. Like, there was just Benfica was terrible, right? He got us. He helped get us out of that. He wasn't the only one. He helped us get out of that. But we can't continue to make decisions on him based on what he did 15, 20 years ago. Do you guys see it that way? Do you agree?
Hey, I got plenty of blame to go around. I mean, if I'll put some blame on Luis Felipe Vieira. I was annoyed a little bit because I wanted someone to come and speak out from the Direção, and I was a little annoyed that Rui Costa was the one chosen instead of Luis Felipe Vieira. I was expecting him to come out and say something, and like you said, I feel like it was a little bit of hiding behind, you know, Rui Costa, because who's going to get mad at Rui Costa, right? He's our you know, our son, you know, no one's going to get mad at him. Let him talk about this. So I was a little annoyed, and yeah, there's something going on. It's beyond obvious. I mean, this has been going on for way too long. So he threw money at the problem, and it didn't work. And now he's got cake on his face, and yeah, he should step in front of the pissed off fans and own it, because it doesn't look good. And the more he hides, the more. I mean, every week we come on here and we're like more and more depressed, more and more upset, and the problem just keep kicking the can down the road like it's going to fix itself. It's not. There's a major problem with this team behind the scenes.
So
my 2 cents. This is my 2 cents. He had the whole academy, whole program going, right? Like for the last few years, you could see it's like academy. And let's not invest on big money players. Let's go academy and grow these home players. Let's have a Portuguese more mentality team, and let's go to Europe, right? That was, and it pinned out when Jesus left and Rui Vitória started it, and then Lage came in and improved it a little bit with academy players, right? Not a big, huge investments. With that second season with Bruno Lage in the second half of the season, where everything fell down the shambles, and we were struggling, the fans questioned Luis Felipe Vieira, just like we're questioning now, wasting all this money. Question, why aren't you wasting money? You just got 125 million. You got this, you got that. So what did he do? It was an election year. He went out and spent that money. Oh, hey, this is what you guys want. You guys want me to spend the money? Here's the players. You guys. There's $100 million worth of players for you guys. You guys don't want the academy. You guys complain about the academy. Here's $100 million worth of players. Those players came in and didn't pan out. Now he's like, oh yeah, that's why you guys want it. Fuck you. Let me hide out.
But where's his face? But that's what I'm saying, right? Like, that's fine that he spent the money, right? We made 120 million off Jean Felix. Jay, go ahead.
So I know you guys are talking about blaming like Luis Felipe Vieira and the coach, and like for them not speaking up. But like my thing is when I watch like even like maybe not as much in soccer, but like when I watch other sports, when something's not going right, some players speak up. Some players are pissed. Some players be like, dude, we need to wake up. Something like, you know what I mean? Like you speak up about what they're going through, their struggles. No one speaks up on this team. It's just like, oh, we tried our best and we move on to the next game. Like, dude, like that's, to me, it's, I keep going back. It's like, to me, it's those players. It's the players. Like, I know it's not all on the players, but I feel like they don't even believe it themselves. So like, I don't think that they have the confidence they don't want to play for the Jorge Jesus. I know you guys want to put the blame on Luis Felipe Vieira and the money, but like I agree with Oscar. People were asking him to spend. He spent. Now they're complaining that he spent too much. Like, what the fuck, dude? You can't make everyone happy. Like, you just.
I get that, but we want him to spend, right? He spends $100 million. Again, it's not net spend was less. He bought $100 million worth of players in a pandemic year where we're not making much money.
But that's what the
Why
fans are
didn't-
asking for.
Okay, so why didn't he spend this money when we could have won 5 seasons in a row?
He was going for the academy. He said he's been preaching it. He's been preaching it left in every single interview I've ever seen from him, even on TV stations. He's been preaching academy, academy, academy. Everybody's behind him when we won it. When we came back 7 points from Porto, everybody's like, academy is our solution, right? And then when it wasn't our solution, everybody complained. Go spend money. You got money. Go spend money. You got money.
Exactly.
And they did.
So you're saying what Luis Fiat has been preaching, right? Luis Fiat also said that JJ would never come back while he was president. Luis Fiat also said that Adel Taarabt would never put a Benfica jersey on again.
Right.
He said that too, and many other things that he said. And that Taarabt is a star on the team. Jorge Jesus came back. He also said that Bruno Lage is also his man until the end of the season. And then he says after.
You just proved my point. He said academy is the way to go. Okay, no buying international players, no buying big money pennies. Guess what he did? He went to buy big money players.
But what I'm saying is he was adamant about the academy, but because of the pressure, he changed his mind. He also said that JJ wasn't coming back, and because of the pressure, he changed his mind. He also said Bruno Lage was his coach for the rest of the season, and then when JJ came back, he then said if JJ had said yes right away, Bruno Lage wouldn't have been the coach. So, like, it gets to the point where I don't know what to believe with this president.
He listens to the fans. He listens to the sauce.
So what? Since when does the club run from the outside in? Since when?
Because the socios vote him in.
The socios are the voters, but we elect a president to be the president of the team. Right. We have a president of a country, right? They can listen to the ideas, right? But the country isn't the one that one person doesn't say, we want this. Okay, then we're going to do that. Then the other people say, well, we want that. We're going to do that, right? There's got to be like a format to this, right? They can't run it from the outside in.
If he doesn't listen to the fans or the socios, he's not going to last another run.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah, Mike. I think a lot of this year had to do with the timing of the election. I mean,
But it's always like that.
No, but this year specifically, right? Like we come back from the end of last season. What happened at the end of last season? Election coming through. You need a new coach. You're going to need to invest. Like all this happened right before the election. Like he went out and pretty much got Jorge Jesus' name was out there. Everyone was happy that Jorge Jesus was coming back, or mostly everyone. He spent the money. Like he made the fans. He knew that he needed to do what the pressure was on him. He needed to do what he had to do. He won the election. And a part of me now, just thinking about it, right? You're right. He didn't want Jesus to come back at prior, right? He had said it.
That's what he said.
I almost
don't know
feel
if
like
he didn't.
Well, but now think about it now, right? He hasn't shown his face. He's almost like letting Jesus burn to the stake during the season.
But why? He's letting the club burn is the thing.
But the blame right now is going towards Jesus. I mean, he gave Jesus everything.
It is, but it isn't. The fans want him. I wouldn't be surprised if this continues if they don't have elections at the end of the season. Luis Fiat is not going to last this. There's no chance he's going to last 4 years the way this is.
How do you guys know it wasn't?
How can they have another election?
How do you guys know?
The socios, they get enough signatures. They take it to the Assembleia Geral and they do eleições antecipadas.
How do you guys know it wasn't Jesus that requested? Listen, if I come back, I don't want you to be involved in the soccer decisions. I don't want you.
That's 100% what happened because that's why JJ left the first time because JJ wanted control and Luis Fiat didn't want to give him the control. So he didn't want to give him the control before, but then he comes and brings him back to give. JJ didn't come back to say, okay, you can handle the soccer. I'm just going to sit there and coach and do my thing. That's not the case,
right?
Right. The fact that he came back and he was making less money at Benfica than he was at Flamengo, right? But again, it's just poor management from the president, right? They always say, right, you don't return to a place where you were successful, right? Something along those lines that's saying more or less, right? And they brought him back. And it's just, again, I get that JJ is at fault. I get it. But the guy who is supposed to show his face in the moment where your club is struggling has yet to show his face. I get it. He spent money. The fans wanted him to spend money. But I get all that. Where is this guy to at least show up, show his face, and say something? Here's where we fucked up. Here's where we messed up. Here's what we're working on. Instead, he throws Rui Costa out there. He's letting Rui Costa burn. There's fans that don't want Rui Costa there. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but they're basically saying if JJ leaves, they want Rui Costa out. They want Luis Fiat out. He's basically throwing him to the wolves and letting him burn while he sits in the background. Like, I don't understand how people don't see that and how that's okay.
So, Mike, you had the right to vote. Who you voted for?
I voted for Luis Fiera, and the reason I voted for Luis Fiera,
like now, 3 months or 4 months later, what would you have changed it?
He would change
I'm disappointed that I did. I would, but the reason I voted for Luis Fiera is, and we had talked about. I would have voted for Nuno Lopes now, but the reason I voted for him was we talked about it before. In a year in a pandemic, he's been at the club. He understands the system, how things are going. We need some stability to get through this phase, right? We don't have fans in the stadium. We're not generating much revenue. Let's get through this, right? And then we can have some change. I think I was nervous of a drastic change in the middle of the pandemic and in the middle of the season, which I think another thing they need to change is elections have to be done in the off season. Doing an election in the middle of the season is stupid, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I regret that decision because of how things have panned out. He just doesn't seem to have a plan. It just seems like it's basically like just throw this at the wall, see if it sticks, and if it doesn't, then fuck it, we'll try something else.
Yeah, look, I'm with you. I think Luis Fiera is to blame. I think he created some, a pretty shitty culture there with just like giving Jesus what he wants with no repercussions, right? He gave Jesus the money to spend the money he wanted to on players and whatnot. But I think there's a little bit to say about that. But sure, I think at the end of the day, Jesus, he did it. There's just too much behind Jesus for these type of performances. Like there's nothing to excuse. Like you should be better than this. No matter who's out there. You should be better than this. 13 points from first place. That's unacceptable, man. It's unacceptable. And that's at the end of the day on the coach and the players.
I agree. I think there's blame to go around, starting on the field, to the coaching staff, to the infrastructure, etc.
Now, if Luis Fiera said at the beginning of the season, or during, obviously in the summer, the pandemic's already going on, the stadium's already closed. If he said, this year we're gonna hold back, we're not gonna spend, we're gonna basically play more of what we have at home, so we can get through this phase, this pandemic. How do you think the fans will react?
Yeah, they'd be pissed too. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Correct. I agree with that. I agree that you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I don't think people would have been as taken back given the fact that no one else around them was spending a lot of money. Look around Europe. Look around all the top 5 leagues in Europe. Tell me the clubs that spent that much money.
Right.
Can you tell me a club that spent $50 million on a player off the top of your head? You probably can't. I can't think of one.
Whoever bought Ruben Diaz.
Okay, yeah. Ruben Diaz. All right, so take that one away. Apart from that, I can't think of one that comes to mind. Well, I'm sure there was more.
How much did Timo?
Didn't Chelsea spend a lot of money?
I don't know how much it came for, but like it wasn't many teams were spending in Europe, right? And we spent a lot of money. Again, Benfica has money, right? We sold Ruben Diaz, we sold João Felix for $120 million. It's not. I don't think money is our issue, but it's just worse. The timing of it seems odd in the situation that we're like. It just seems all very unplanned. Like fuck it, we're just going to spend a ton of money and let's go.
Another question. You keep saying, and you say Jesus and the blah blah is not an election thing. I think 100% is an election thing. Is 100% him basically telling the fans, I know last year's whatever it was. This year we're gonna be champions and go to Champions League. This is him basically preaching to the fans. Vote for me because this year we're gonna get a good coach or a coach that would name, and we're gonna have all these players spend a lot of money on international players to go to the Champions League and win the Campeonato easily win the Campeonato, right? Because nobody else in Portugal had the money to spend to make their squads better. So now. He basically did that in election. We got the election. We win the first 5 games in a row. We were beating teams 5-1, 4-0, this and that. Okay, smooth sailing. We're gonna win the Campeonato easily. Nobody's gonna touch us. And everybody was happy. Oh yeah, Luis Fiera. We just this is exactly what we wanted for the longest time. Finally, you woke up, and now this happens. And now all of a sudden, everything turns around, and Fiera sucks. Get him out.
Yeah.
Get him out.
Okay, so Oscar, you have a point, right? You have a point. But what about the other side of it, right? and I know we don't want to come off like we're complaining about refs and this and that, but where is, like, I remember in past years, Luis Felipe Vieira coming to press conferences, sticking up for the team, fighting the arbitraging and all the, robados, this and that, right? I know we don't want to come off like we're crying, but let's face it, we haven't seen a PK all season long.
19 games.
Where is the president to, like, Pinto, like, I saw one of the comments.
Just did it last week.
Pinto da Costa was out in front of complaining about refs and this.
Fernandez did it. Fernandez did it early in the season as well.
They go and they fight for Paulinho. When's what is it? Paulinho, whatever his name is. When's he going to serve his game suspension for the 5
in the summer in the friendly games? 5
yellows. Those guys fight. Those guys are fighting for their club. Where's that's Luis Felipe Vieira's?
I totally agree.
When he shows up? You know when he shows up, when something in the news shows up that says, "Oh, Polícia Judiciária está no Estádio da Luz." Then he shows up like, "Oh, it's not true. We'll work with the police to show them that." That's when he shows up. But when it's to defend Benfica lately, he never shows up.
Lately, yeah, because he
part.
But the thing was, he used to. And that's why I liked him.
So why doesn't he now? That's what pisses me off.
I don't know. That's what I don't understand. And this is when we need him, right? He needs to put pressure on the arbitraging, on the league, because whatever, I don't care. I'll bitch about it. There's PKs that have been missed. We've been robbed a couple of games here. It's not going to make a big difference in the standings, but still, enough's enough. And he needs to be the one voicing that opinion, and he's not. He's not there.
I agree. Before we jump across, Max is waiting in the backstage here, so we can talk about the Arsenal game. Who was your MVP for the game? Jay, I'll start with you.
For what game?
Moreirense, caralho.
You know what? I don't want to give anyone an MVP.
Okay, you don't have to. It's no one.
No one.
Otamendi.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree, man. The whole, Otamendi is my favorite player on the team right now. Him and Weigl.
Hey, Oscar, what's your opinion on Otamendi now, huh?
I like him. I'm
not even gonna lie. He's seriously been our fucking most consistent.
It's been from episodes of him and Weigl. I used to shit on both of them. And
you went from conspiracy theories to MVPs.
No, my conspiracy theory right now, I'll tell it to you. It's Jesus is a Sporting fan who wants Sporting to win the Campeonato.
Dude, to me,
we got Ruben, a Benfica fan, gonna win it with Sporting.
Yeah,
imagine that. Glenn's still flabbergasted. I can't actually believe what I'm hearing. Oh, Max is about to join us. His camera's off, but I'm not seeing if he's there. Max, can you hear us? No. Oh, there he is.
I'm here, boys. I'm here.
Oh, he's got the sleeveless shirt, too.
Bro,
he's ready to go.
On today. I'm ready to go.
What time is it over there?
1 p.m. and it's fucking hot today as well.
Great.
All right. So Thursday we got Benfica Arsenal in Rome. We got a home away from home, 2 legs outside of our normal stadiums because of COVID and travel restrictions. It's funny because when we last spoke about this, Max, it's almost like the roles were reversed. Like Arsenal was in fucking shambles and Benfica was not in shambles, but we were doing better. And now, fast forward a month and a half later, and I'm sure you heard us ranting and raving here, and we're falling apart. And meanwhile, Arsenal, they went through a lull again, a couple of games, but they got back to winning ways this weekend. Tell us about what your expectations are. How's Arsenal doing now in comparison to last time we spoke? How are you feeling about this game?
Well, I mean, who would be a football fan, right? Who would be a football fan? We should all just go and be Man City fans or maybe Bayern Munich fans. People who just win all of the time and, we struggle to find ways to get upset. It's really nice to listen to people from other football clubs, going through the same seesaw of emotions. It makes you realize that whenever we feel isolated or whenever we feel like our football club is the only football club that could possibly be going through this. I feel bad for you, Mike, because you support 2 basket case clubs.
Seriously.
It's just endless for you. You're just getting pounded from every direction.
He gets a ton of grief. Let me tell you.
You should hear the rest of the sports teams.
But yeah, look, when we last spoke, like I said, we were the basket case, struggling to play a style of football, and I think that's the big difference in Arsenal right now is there is a style that you can physically see, especially in the last game we just played against Leeds. It was we essentially played 3 number 10s in this cohesive, movement-based, triangle-based, fast ball progression. But, all is not lost, because I said something to you on the last podcast I was on with you guys, and I said the way to beat Arsenal is to play in a low block. And I can tell you that despite Arsenal's improvements, we're still in 13th in the table. So, our improvements are, I guess, a little bit shallow or a little bit superficial. But the way to beat Arsenal is still to play in a low block. And we just went and bummed Leeds because Leeds made the fatal error of trying to come and play against us. And when we did Chelsea, they made the fatal error of coming and trying to play against us. And you look at all of the other games that we've lost this season, it's the same thing as what I was telling you last time. You sit men in low blocks behind the balls. You don't progress your wing backs far up the pitch, and you let Arsenal try and have this. Or what will happen is Arsenal will have these long periods of very, very pointless possession where we work in a U shape around the D and then start trying to ping in crosses to Lacazette, who's 4'5", or Aubameyang, who's, I don't know. I've scored more headers in world football than what Aubameyang scored. Incidentally, he scored one on the weekend. It was quite good. Before I stick my foot further in my mouth, but that's the state. That's the state that we're looking at. It's an Arsenal team that is greatly improved in style, not necessarily greatly improved in results. It's an Arsenal team that can still get its confidence rocked very quickly. I find we have to start fast. We have to score early. It's an Arsenal team that can still fall back into what I would say is very predictable patterns. I think we would be an easy team to coach against. I would just, like I've said, I think there's ways that you would stop us. And I still don't think, despite now, and like Mike will know, but for the rest of you guys, Arsenal fans, right, if we win 2 games, we're winning the fucking league, right? So that's everyone now, like, right now too. Yeah, we won a couple of games. Everyone's like, we're winning Europa, we're finishing 4th, we're signing everyone in the entire world. Yeah. But I'm not like that. I always get told that I'm a pessimist, but I'm more like, look at the games, look at the competition. Everyone now seems to think we're going to go on this huge Europa League run. I still think it'll be a difficult tie against you guys. And I think the thing about cup competitions is your form lines go out the window for cup competitions. In England, we've seen teams get relegated the same year they win their first FA Cup. They go through, because there's an element of pressure off when it comes to cup competitions. There's an element of you can just go out there and play free, because it's a knockout competition and anything can happen in a knockout competition. There's no crowds. There's no home grounds. We're playing in Rome. Where are we playing for the second leg?
Athens.
Greece.
Yeah.
Athens,
playing in Rome.
Stadium.
Yeah. Yeah, so like anything could happen. I'm far from walking into this like most Arsenal fans, with my cock thrown over my shoulder and my balls under my arm, like, watch me go.
Boys, I'll open it up to you guys. What do you guys think going into this? And any specific questions or thoughts for Max in terms of Arsenal that you think we can take advantage of, or if there's points where you think Arsenal could take advantage of us? I mean, you guys are on the group chat, or most of you guys are on the group chat, and hear all the other guys give me shit about Arsenal. So I'll open it up to you guys.
I'm actually curious to hear what you think, right? Because you follow both clubs on a consistent basis, right? I don't watch much of Arsenal. I'll watch a game here and there, but seeing both clubs, what are your thoughts? I'm curious to hear what you think.
I think that on paper, Arsenal's by far a better team than Benfica. I think Jorge Jesus has more experience than Arteta. So I think advantage on the coach for Benfica, take it as you will, and advantage on the field for Arsenal. Obviously, they have a lot more financial power than Benfica does. I think defensively, I predict 2 very boring tactical games of moving the ball side to side, waiting for, that one opening that you can take advantage of. In the midfield, Partey is most likely out. That's going to leave Xhaka and probably Odegaard and Ceballos in there probably. If Partey was in there, I think I'd be a little bit more concerned. He brings a little bit of steel. He's a box-to-box guy. He can get up and down the field. He's going to put his body about. Xhaka's capable of, and Max doesn't like him, but I think he helps Arsenal get out of the back, similar to what Weigl does to Benfica. He drops in between the center backs. He gives you that pass out of the back. Weigl's a more consistent pass out of the back. Xhaka is capable of putting a fucking ball on a dime, and he's also capable of fucking up a 3-yard pass and sending the team in transition right down your throat. So I think with Partey out, it gives us a little bit more in the midfield, or at least a little bit more hope in the midfield. My biggest concern here is going to be Pepe, the speed of Pepe, Saka, Aubameyang, those guys running at guys like Gilberto, Grimaldo, Vertonghen, they know what to expect. I'm not too concerned with them, but it's the guys on the outside that I'm concerned about. Because if Pepe starts, he's fucking fast, and he's been playing better lately. He's fast, he's quick, ball close to his foot. Saka has been a machine this season. He's been playing well. He's confident. Aubameyang just got a hat trick. Coincidentally, right on the eve of playing against Benfica, he comes in with a hat trick. He hadn't been playing well. I don't know if Lacazette's going to come into the squad or not. So it just, I predicted at the beginning of the season that Benfica would go to the Europa League final. It was just a feeling that I had, right? It's just a fan feeling, right? Looking, the chances of Benfica getting Arsenal in the first knockout stage, like the percentages must have been fucking tiny, right? And we end up with them, which pissed me off. Do I think Benfica is going to get past them? I think, like Max says, right? It's a cup tie. It's 2 legs, no home crowd. It's going to be very different than what we're used to, and I really think it's just going to come down to the players' experience, and it's going to come down to just a stupid fucking mistake from someone or a missed opportunity that's going to end up costing them, and it's going to be the end of it. I'm worried Benfica's form going into it, I must admit, but I'm hopeful that, again, it's a different competition. There's a different incentive. Maybe that'll spark, right? You think about players, right? We want to play in Europe. We want to play meaningful games, right? Going into a league game, they're 13 points back now, right? Is that confidence going to be there? Is that confidence going to be there for a European game, right? It shouldn't be like that when you're playing for a big club, right? Like every game should be meaningful, but that's the reality of it, unfortunately. So I'm a bit concerned. Glenn says here, depression derby.
So
basically.
So true. I mean,
Oscar, what are your thoughts? Kenny, go ahead, finish.
Well, I'll give you my take. I think since the group stages, I actually thought Benfica had a little bit of fire in them. Coming back against Rangers a couple of games, you saw some life in them. Since then, I have not. I mean, that team is like long gone. That form is long gone. I don't think. I think Benfica is going to sit back. I think they'll hunker down and kind of hope something bounces their way. Counterattack. We have Rafa. I think Rafa is good on the counter. We just can't finish. So even if Rafa gets to the final third, and he makes the right pass, I don't think our forwards are good enough to finish. Right? We've struggled all year with that. But yeah, I think we'll play. We'll hunker down. We'll play for a tie and see if anything bounces our way. At the end of the day, I just think Arsenal has more grit than Benfica at this point. I don't see much life in our squad. I don't know if playing in Europa League or having a Europa League type of match is going to change any of that. But yeah, maybe we'll get a goal. But I think over both legs, I think we'll get a goal. But I think Arsenal will probably get like 3 or 4. So I don't think it'll make a difference.
Oscar,
what do you guys think?
I mean, the comment that Glenn said is 100% right. I'm looking at the Arsenal's last 5 games. They have 2 losses, 2 wins, 1 tie. Benfica has 2 wins, 1 loss, 2 ties. Yeah, depression against depression. I mean, you have to think. Arsenal lost to Aston Villa, Wolves. Arsenal they tied up Manchester United, and they actually lost to Southampton before they beat them. Right, so 2 games
That's
back
for
to
the
back.
cup.
All right, and then obviously you can't compare those English teams to the Portuguese teams we play here, and so there's comparing apples to apples does not count. So this game I said it from the beginning when the things came out, when the draw came out, that it was going to be just wait until Aubameyang. How do you say his name?
Aubameyang.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck, I'll call him Pierre. It's a matter of time for the fucking guy to start scoring, and guess what happens? The fucking starts scoring right before our game. Fucking son of a bitch.
Right. That's not scoring. He does.
But listen, I think it's going to be one of those games, like Mike said. Arsenal is a better team. Do I see them just blowing Benfica away? I don't, because Arsenal sucks just like Benfica sucks. So it's going to be one of those things. Hey, listen, let's see who wasted the worst money.
just to give you guys some scope. So up until Aubameyang scores that hat trick, the last 3 weeks we're doing podcasts about him unbalancing the team. So what's the saying? One swan doesn't make a flock. I think I fucked that up. Something doesn't make a dawn. One game from Aubameyang doesn't all of a sudden, and he's actually done this across the season where he's looked good in one game. Leeds played a really, really stupid defensive setup, tried to play out from the back against a very pressy Arsenal team, and really made us look very good. The game against Wolves where we lost, that's the best 30 minutes of football I've seen Arsenal play in a long time. And then 2 red cards. So, it's interesting, right? Results aren't always an indicator of the direction of the team. And Arsenal in the last few weeks have definitely been a team who have looked like they've been coming back towards some kind of a summit, in the sense that the pattern play is much better. There was a comment before saying, don't you find Arsenal's play to be boring and predictable? I have up until the last 3 weeks. I literally just did a podcast yesterday saying, my biggest thing that I've hammered Arteta for is I haven't been able to see coaching. I felt it's been a very Wengerian approach. Like, I'll put the players out, go out and express yourselves. There didn't seem to be anything that I could look at that I could say, well, that's a specific style and that's specifically coached. In the last 3 weeks, I've started to see that. And we're, like I said, as a fan base, people are already, marching to win the league. That's not going to happen. There's still massive flaws in our team. But I would say there's cautionary tales on both sides. Like, don't look at Aubameyang scoring a hat-trick and immediately think that that's going to turn into him doing something great. He's played at centre forward all year and done the square root of fuck all, right? He's played on the left all year and done the square root of fuck all. Yeah, like, if you guys, I'll tell you now, if Benfica come out and try and play against Arsenal and push their wingers high and let Saka and Pepe run in behind and let Aubameyang have a free roll and allow Xhaka to ping balls through the line uncontested, you're going to be in for a really, really long night. If you take the smart approach and say, let's stack the box, let's shut down the middle, let's pull our wing backs in behind the halfway line, let's try and hit Arsenal on the break, let's get them to overcommit, let's get them to hold possession, let's knock them out of their rhythm. Basically, I see this as going 2 ways, this tie. Either you come out and play against us and we ask fuck you, or you come and sit against us and it becomes a very, very, very tight 2 ties, which could be 1 goal. Either way, it could be boring football. I wouldn't put it past the tie to be boring. I would say if it's an exciting tie, Arsenal get up by several goals. If it's a boring tie, I think it's a close match.
Yeah, I agree. I personally think it'll be boring unless Arsenal scores first on Thursday and forces Benfica to open up a little bit. But I think
early goals.
Arsenal is, I think if Arsenal is cautious with their approach, I think it's going to be boring, and I think it's going to be a 1-goal decider. This game or the next game.
I think Benfica will dictate how this game is played. It will be on Benfica to dictate both games, how it's played. If it's played, If they're cautionary, then Arsenal will play in a certain way, and if they're attacking, then Arsenal will play in a certain way. I think that Mikel Arteta will be going out there to play in the way that he's been playing, which is fast ball movement, triangles, playing 3 number 10s, which is essentially what he's been doing at the moment, or putting Pepe on the left and just letting him just roam free and do what he wants to do. If Lacazette plays, I'll be really disappointed. I don't know if you guys saw the stat about Lacazette. 11 games this year, in 11 separate games, he's either failed to get a shot off or failed to get a shot on target.
Damn.
Wow.
I didn't see that. I'm actually a fan of Lacazette. I must say, but he has been very inconsistent.
Everyone is, because he works his hole off, and we laud
Also,
in football.
he's just comparable to Darwin. He's very similar to Darwin.
Yeah,
he works hard.
Yeah, he does everything except the thing that he's paid to do.
Exactly.
Max, I'll start with you. What do you think is going to be the starting 11 on Thursday? Or what would you go with?
Starting 11, I would literally probably go and try and play the same as what we played at Leeds, but I don't think that that's going to happen. There were 2 schools of thought, right? Either that this weird formation was to try it before we went to Benfica, or that this was to rest people. I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle on that. So, I think you could easily see them go out and play like that, especially having had the success and taking into account how important this cup now becomes for Arsenal. We're not getting into Europa League spots. I'll tell you that now. Right, we'll finish 10th, 8th, 9th, 10th. I think 8th will be our ceiling. I think 12th could be our floor this year when you look at all the games. So I can see him kind of throwing caution to the wind in that sense and saying, well, that team just went out and just smashed it, and that's the best Aubameyang looked. I assume Rob Holding will come back into the team. People were saying he'd been dropped. I don't think he's dropped. I think he was just blowing out of his ass and needed a rest. So I think he'll come back into the team. I think Gabriel will play. Obviously, Cedric is going to play. Tierney's not going to be back. Thomas Partey's not going to be back. You'll see a Xhaka Ceballos midfield. That was an interesting midfield to watch because Xhaka has been better because he's been playing in front of Partey. In this game, it was switched against Leeds, and he actually sat behind Ceballos, which I don't like him out of deep positions because he's a fucking liability. And when he's in the deepest position, if he gets dispossessed, it's straight onto goal. When he's higher up the pitch, if he gets done, there's opportunities for people to protect him. But with Ceballos is going to be the more advanced. Front 3, let's say Pepe, ESR, Saka, or it will be ESR, Odegaard, Saka. I think Aubameyang's playing up top.
So you think Laka stays on the bench for this one?
Yeah, I don't think he gets back into the team this year, really. Not as a he had an extended run in the team there where he scored a couple of goals. I know people say, he's Arsenal's top goal scorer. If you look at Lacazette's goals this year, mate, like he scored 8 goals, 4 of them have gone in off his ass. Like you look at the ones he's missed, like compared to the ones he's got. It's pretty horrific. So I don't think Lacazette gets back into the team this year. He'll be on the bench and then he'll be gone next year.
Hopefully, Manny says here, David Luiz does us a favor. Former Benfica player, maybe he'll score one for us. That'll send Arsenal fans into a meltdown.
He better not play. Well, we just extended him. Apparently, we've offered him a 1-year extension. So
yeah, I saw that.
I'm gonna call him. Hey, score one. Come on,
boys. What do you guys think on the lineup for Thursday?
Jay, what do you think?
Can I go first?
Shoot.
Sure.
All right. I think we're gonna put even though I didn't mind late, it was fine during this game. But I think Odyssey is gonna be the goalkeeper. We have to go with Gio because Diogo is not. I don't trust him. Otamendi, Vertonghen, and Grimaldo has to go there. If he doesn't put Servi playing on the left side, I swear to God that I will throw a missile at that fucking guy. Weigl as in the midfield with the Taarabt, Pizzi on the right, Servi on the left, and I want to go Raf and Seferovic. Put Darwin on the bench.
Okay, Jay.
I actually think Jesus is probably gonna play something similar to what he did in the Porto game. I know, don't call me crazy. I think he might do the Nuno Tavares Grimaldo.
Don't even go there.
Why? I think that would be fine on that left side. It would be double protection.
Max, if you see Nuno Tavares on the team sheet,
oh, man, I hope he fucking does.
It's gonna be fucking bad news bears.
Yeah, it's a green light. It's green light for you guys.
No.
All right, Jay, keep going.
No, you guys go.
No, finish your.
You guys go. I already said my surprise. You guys go.
All right, Kenny.
So I think so is Gilberto, is he still like hurt, or is he like fit to play?
He should be back. He just didn't play. He said he had muscle fatigue, so he's giving him a break.
All right. So yeah, I agree with the back line and the keeper, as Oscar said. I don't know. The midfield's where I'm troubled, right? Like, does he sit Pizzi and play Tarat and Weigl again? That's where I don't know what he's going to do there. I think Pizzi has to play. So Tarat's been playing well. So I'm gonna say Weigl and Tarat in the midfield with Rafa on one side, and I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna put Pizzi on the other side, and I'm gonna say Waldo and Darwin start as our forwards.
What about the left?
Rafa and Pizzi on the wings.
Nah, he won't go that. He won't do that.
Because I think they're gonna be more defensive, and I think Pizzi. It's almost, I don't know. I don't feel like Waldo's gonna be like Darwin's gonna be by himself, and Waldo and Pizzi are gonna kind of like interchange with each other. I don't know. I don't feel like Darwin's gonna be all by himself up top, and we're just gonna kind of hunker down. I think it's gonna be like.
Let me question you, Ken. Don't you think Seth can hold the ball more up top than Darwin when it comes to say we want to get the play up top? And I know counterattacks we need Darwin speed, but he doesn't do anything with it.
Yeah,
right?
But I'm also thinking like bench, right? Like I feel like Seth is a much better player coming off the bench, and I think if you put Seth, like I don't think Darwin's going to give you much coming off the bench in the second half, like. I'd actually I'd throw the question off to you guys, right, Mike? And what do you guys think, bench wise? Who's got the better bench? I don't think Benfica is that deep. I think Seth and Servi are good bench players. I think that's really our two options coming off the bench in this game that are going to do something. I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Mate, we've got Willian. We've got Willian off the bench. Anything.
That's
could
true.
Go. You might say I can't predict what's going to happen with the scores, but what I can predict is Willian will come off the bench and will be fucking terrible.
And he'll probably score a free kick.
Well,
he hasn't got a ball past the first man this year, Oscar. He hasn't got a ball past the first man, so I don't know how he's going to get it over the wall and flying into the top corner.
I mean, Max, I'll tell you this.
I would say Arsenal has a better bench, though.
Yeah, I mean, our second
halves.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say our second halves have been awful all season. So like, the changes at halftime or the changes in the second half have not done us well. And I don't, I really trust Seferovic coming off the bench. I feel like he's a super sub. He tends to score, in that type of that mindset, right? Coming off the bench to either hold a result
Kenny, we're a very plan A team at Arsenal. Arteta's subs are generally predictable and ineffective, bordering on like mental at times. Like when you're pulling Pepe off when he is red hot.
Yeah.
And we're thinking, that's because you're going to start him next week, and then he puts Willian on, and then he benches Pepe the next week.
Yeah.
Like, so as far as the way I like to look at benches. I've always thought, like, I wasn't an Olivier Giroud lover when he was at Arsenal because he was our first choice option. But I would bite your fucking hand off for Olivier Giroud on the bench right now because it completely changes the state of the game.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
And I look at Arsenal and I'm like, there's no one there that changed the state of the game. I'm going to bring on El Neni. Awesome. 5-yard passes sideways and backwards. I'm going to bring on Lacazette at 11 games where you haven't got a shot on goal or on target. This season, I'm going to bring on Willian, who's been poor. maybe I've got Pepe on the bench, who you would think would be this amazing player off the bench. But not every player is good off the bench. Goes to what you were saying before, Kenny, about the player. You were saying, like, he's a better bench option. It's like for years, people like Theo Walcott, super sub. Theo Walcott, worst player off the bench in history because he needed to feel his way into the game. He needed to have 4 or 5 touches. You've got guys who are specifically bench players who specifically make impacts off the bench. For Arsenal, historically, Nwankwo Kanu, the single greatest bench striker of all time because his technique was so good, first touch didn't matter. Dimitar Berbatov for Manchester United because his technique was so good. It was there all the time. He didn't need to find it in a game. Yeah. So, if plan A isn't working for Arsenal, I wouldn't be really afraid of what we're going to do off the bench. You've got no Partey there. You've got no Tierney there. What are you going to do to change that midfield? Bring on El Neni. Willock's out on loan. Ainsley Maitland-Niles is out on loan. You're going to have Odegaard there, maybe on the bench, maybe starting. ESR maybe on the bench, maybe starting. There's a lot of youth.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way. I don't think we have much of a bench to make a change. But if there is that one player, I think it's Seth, and he might be our best forward right now. And I get Oscar saying, like, he's got, you got to start your hot hand, but I feel like we're gonna be trying to just hold the game, and hope that second half comes around and we, hey, let's give the last 15 minutes a try here and throw in Seth and see if he can just find one, right? And I think
much more likely the way, Kenny, that I expect it to go. It's do not lose the first leg, and I think that might be both teams. Do not lose the first leg, knowing that there's no home and away advantage.
Yeah.
Sit, don't bin it in the first 75 minutes, and maybe have a crack at it in the last 15 if we're, if the teams are close.
Right.
But I think it'll be the second leg will be the interesting leg in the first leg.
I have a question for you guys. So tomorrow's game, not tomorrow, this week's game is Benfica's home game, right?
Yes.
So Arsenal scores a goal, it's scoring away.
Yeah.
All right. So I think in that case, because we're playing it's both away games. In this case, Arsenal benefits from playing the first leg and Benfica's away. Benfica's basically home. Because
but there's no real advantage apart from the format, right? Home and away. But
you have to think, you kind of learn from your first game. Like if a smart coach can learn from the first game.
Yeah.
If we fucked up this game, but we played away, now home we can do this better, right? And make sure you get the result back. So in this way, Arsenal benefits from playing away first, in a way. All right.
Yeah, agreed.
Let me just say one thing why I thought about my lineup, and then you can go ahead. We need to hold like Max said over here. We need to hold the Arsenal, find out what they're gonna do, right? And the reason is I put Weigl, Taarabt, and PC, Rafa, and Seth is because PC can go to the midfield and Rafa to his side easily because that's their positions all year, right? Rafa can help out Gilberto because he has that speed, and Servi has to help out Grimaldo because Everton does, right? So we need to feel Arsenal first and maybe play a 4-5 or a 4-4 whatever, 4-5-1, right? With Steph being the only striker up top until we get to feel a little Arsenal, and then we can open up because he can easily stick to the side and Rafa up top to help out Seth on counterattacks, right? So if Seth can hold the ball and wait for these fast guys to come up, I think is our best way to be an Arsenal team and a counterattack. And maybe I'm wrong, but Jesus sucks anyway, so you probably do exactly what Nick said. Lose the 5-0 and lose the game 5-0.
Thank you. Have anything to say to that? No. I think the game is going to be decided with Rafa 1-on-1 against Cedric, Everton 1-on-1 against Bellerin, Saka 1-on-1 against Gilberto, and Pepe 1-on-1 against Grimaldo. I think those 4 matchups are going to be the deciding factor in this game. Whoever is able to take the advantage there is going to create problems for the backline because neither of the backlines are quick. The 2 center backs on both sides aren't quick. Whether you put Holding out there, David Luiz, Gabriel, neither of them are quick. And I think it's just going to be decided on the outside. I think in the midfield, there's not much pace either. I mean, Xhaka's slow. Ceballos is a workhorse, but he's not the quickest. Benfica's got match for match, I think, in the midfield. I think it's going to be on the outside that they're going to decide this game. So it'd be interesting to see who.
I have a question. I have a Benfica related question. So as far as pattern play goes for Benfica, where do the majority of their goals come from? Crossed onto header, from byline back to penalty spot, from counter attack. What is the general or the consistent pattern play from Benfica?
There's usually a mistake from the defense, and we kind of just
we've gotten lately. And you guys can chime in if you think I'm wrong, but lately we try to work it into the fucking goal. We don't shoot from outside. We'll get to the end line. We'll cross it, but we never score fucking headers. It really ends up being almost like an individual play, right?
Early season Arsenal, Mike, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well,
So basically, like Rafa will split, get through the lines and split fucking 2 or 3 guys open and then just lay it off. Or, it'll bounce here. We'll recover it up the pitch and, we'll break quickly. But we don't cross and score on headers. No. Set pieces, corner kicks, we don't fucking score. So like I said, I just think it's going to come down to an individual moment. Someone's able to create, an odd number attack. And, I think that's going to be decided that way.
But
I don't
Mike,
know, Kenny, Jay, and Tank or Oscar.
I'll say something. So I think it's going to be different though this game, right? We don't typically cross the ball, right? We'll get the ball on the wing and we tend to just circle the ball back around, right? But that's because we're typically in possession and we're comfortably holding the ball and we just don't cross. But I think a game against Arsenal, we're not going to have that luxury, and I think we're going to see more crosses. I just don't know if we have the players. Darwin's not. I mean, he's not that bad of a header. It's just he's got to have.
He's not, but he's going up against guys like I think David Luiz and Gabriel start. That's my opinion. I don't think
Holding will start. I reckon.
You think so?
100%. Yeah.
But either way, Holding's good in the air. David Luiz is strong in the air. Gabriel is strong in the air, right? And Darwin's a young kid. I was
just going to say that, Mike. I was just going to say if you try get into wide areas and cross the ball, we've got animals who will head the ball out all day. That's not how you beat Arsenal. You look at the way teams have given Arsenal real problems. The Portuguese guy who plays for Wolves, what's his name?
Which one? The whole national team plays
the
there.
one who plays
Shota?
on the one who plays outside him.
Neto.
One of them, I've forgotten which one because there's so many of them. I told you when I was in Portugal, when I was in Lisbon, right? I did a walking tour, and the guy told me in Lisbon, he says, we have a saying in Portugal that if anything happened anywhere in the world, a Portuguese guy was there to see it. And I was like, why is that? And he's like, because there's no Portuguese people in Portugal. He's like, they all left to get jobs. So I think they all went to Wolves. I think that's what happened. They went to Wolves. Anyway, they've given Rob Holding's been really good for us all season. He's been a really, I would argue he's been maybe close to player of the season for us all season. Much maligned. People don't like him because he's he's not shiny. He's not something that they can look at and be like, oh, we paid millions and millions of pounds for him. But both times we played Wolves, I think there's 2 Portuguese guys who play on the left for Wolves, left inside and left outside, and they have absolutely bummed him. And what they did is they ran off Bellerin, who gets caught high and inside, and they ran straight at Holding and turned him. Now, if you run straight at Holding and turn him, that's where you start to get some change out of him. Holding's a fantastic defender when the work is coming to him. If the ball is coming to him, he will get rid of it all day. Very old-fashioned centre-back, big, strong, decent passer. You start getting Rob Holding to turn and you start getting him to make decisions, you've got problems. Now, you look at Gabriel outside of that for us, who everyone sees as this ginormous brute, fantastic defender. He's the opposite. You need to pass the balls down the channel around him because he's a bit big, he's a bit square, and he's a bit slow on the turn. And he's a guy, if you try and go through him, he'll just bounce you because he's built like a brick shit house. He's a fridge. So, and this is what I was saying earlier on in the podcast, I think that in some ways we can be a bit of a good coach's dream. If you look at the pattern plays and you look at how to play Arsenal and you're a coach who can go and say, we are going to go and play in this very, very specific way and we're going to sit on these players and this is what we're going to do. And I think that's what, what's his name? Nuno Espirito fucking whatever its name is.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. It's like Oscar trying to say Aubameyang. But I think that you see with him, he's a very smart coach. And both games we played, he's put people on people and changed things and been able to actually isolate Arsenal defenders. I'd be interested to see whether Benfica, with the coaching that they have at the moment, are good enough or are smart enough or have the personnel to go back to what Mike said, to win those one-on-one battles. Because I think if you isolate someone and you start getting people winning on one-on-one battles, that's where you go and get Arsenal.
Well, I would say, really, Mike, what do you think? Or Oscar J? I mean, Rafa is really the only one that's going to win those one-on-one battles, don't you think? Because even if Everton were to play, he's not going to. I don't see him doing it. Pizzi's not really going to make that move either. That's why I think we're going to counterattack with Rafa and hope for the best.
Right. And this is why I have Rafa up top, is because he can push back to and then counterattack going forward. I think that's our way to go. Is like you said, a counter. If you want to do quick counterattacks, is with Rafa basically being flexible, not having to defend all game long like he has to do on the wing. If he has to do that on the wing, him coming back and going up, he's going to be gassed by the 45th by the first half, and then second half we're going to have the same bullshit all over, not doing shit.
If Rafa's on a good day, I wouldn't be surprised to see someone like Xhaka get sent off.
I'm never surprised to see Xhaka get sent off.
But it's because he doesn't have that protection, and he's not very quick. His positioning sometimes off the ball isn't the greatest. He doesn't anticipate where the ball is going to be. Something that Partey does very well. He's there normally well before the ball even gets to where it ends up being. And Rafa's a guy that will pick the ball up at midfield and weave through 3 or 4 guys. And the guy that's going to protect the likes of Holding, Gabriel, or David Luiz is going to be Xhaka with no Partey there. And if Rafa's on a good day, he's going to cause shit ton of problems for Xhaka there, which won't be ideal for him.
Yeah, and like
any other thoughts here?
Like I said, Mike, Xhaka's not playing in the position where Xhaka has been playing well in over the last few weeks. Xhaka's been playing in front of Partey, where his mistakes can get they can get swept up or they can get mopped up by other people. Xhaka's sitting in that deep position 100%. Like that's where I've forgotten who we played earlier in the year. They literally just covered off. El Neni. That's all they did. They covered off El Neni and they let Xhaka have it in the deep areas. And they were like, "You will fuck up." And what did he do?
Fucked up.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'll say one more thing. I think it's going to be very important for Weigl and Tarat to have a huge game. I mean, Tarat he's played pretty well lately, and he's gonna, I think more than Weigl. I think Tarat's gonna have to have a superb game to keep up in that midfield.
It'll be a good game for him too. Back to an English.
He has something to prove going back to EPL.
He does.
I was just going to say that. Get out of my head. Max, I'm sure, will be familiar with him from QPR.
Yeah.
All right. The best part of the podcast, predictions before we sign off. Max, since you're the guest, I'm going to save you for last. But I know, as Oscar would call you, you're a realist. I know people call you a pessimist. Oscar likes to call it a realist. Jay, I'm going to start with you. What's your prediction for this game?
I'm going to go 1-1.
Jay's got a 1-1.
I think it's going to be a lot of 1-1s. Go Oscar. Go Oscar next.
Oscar.
I say Benfica lose 1-3.
Whoa.
Holy shit. Kenny.
So I'm gonna say 0-0 this game. I think we're gonna defend till the end. We're just no goals is good for us. So I'm going 0-0.
It's a hard one for me.
I'm loving
This is a tough one for me. I'm going to say
You're in a lose-lose. If you pick Arsenal to win, we're all gonna give you shit. You pick Benfica to win, you're just in a lose-lose right now.
I'm gonna say 1-1 as well.
Smart.
Max, what do you think?
I'm going to say 1-0 to Arsenal, and I think it'll be a late goal.
Okay.
Because you'd be crazy. You'd be crazy in the first leg to go out and try and press high up the pitch and try and do them. So the only thing that makes logical sense to me is Benfica to sit deep, and Arsenal have been shit against deep-lying teams. So 1-0 to Arsenal.
Max, you want to bet anything in the world that Benfica does not sit deep?
It would be insane. It would be.
It's going to be half the game up the field. Gilberto half the game up the field.
So I'd like.
Bellerin does the same.
I'd like to make 2 predictions. It will either be 1-0 to Arsenal, or I think it'll be 3-1. I think it'll be 3-1 to Arsenal or 1-0 to Arsenal, depending on Benfica.
Okay, Glenn thinks it's going to be 2-3 for the Arsenal. Lots of goals in the group games for both teams. Tiago says 2-0 to Arsenal. Glenn's trying to follow you on Twitter, Oscar, but he says your account's on private. Or he might be talking about Jay. Jay's account, I think, might be private.
Oscar's damn private. I don't even know what I think I'm at K Defont 4.
K Defont 4 is Kenny's.
Yeah.
Oscar's keeps it private so you can.
I don't
who's creeping on. It might be Jay. You might be talking about Jay. Boys, anything else you want to add before we jump off? Max, any other things you want to enlighten us with here?
No, mate. I hope it's a good game. I hope for your sake, Mike, it's close, so you don't feel conflicted the entire game. I don't want it to be like one team smashing the other team, and then you've got to feel bad on the other side. So I hope for your sake it's close.
Mike, who do you want to win? I love that.
Of course, I want Benfica to win. It's my childhood club. I mean, no one's above Benfica for me. And again, I predicted that they would go to the Europa League final. Obviously, that's a biased opinion, but I mean, it ends up being a win-win in the sense, right? Like if Arsenal goes through, it's one of my teams is still in there, right? But I want Benfica to go through. Obviously, they're my childhood team, but like Max says, it would suck if we get fucking torched in this first game, right? And then it's just like. All right. Well, I'll be like some of our friends, right? You just take the Benfica shirt off and have the Arsenal shirt underneath, right? We got a couple of friends like that.
I got a question. I got a good question for you, Mike, before you go. Who is a Europa League more important to? As a supporter of both clubs, right now, the state of both clubs, who is the Europa League Cup more important to?
Benfica.
I would say Arsenal.
Me too.
Arsenal, 100%.
Yeah.
Benfica still can fight for a top 3 Champions League spot. Arsenal's not going to get into top 4, most likely. This is basically their ticket to the Champions League, like it was last year with Emery.
And it's not going to happen.
This is Arsenal's ticket.
It's not going to happen to either team.
And it's realistically, a better chance of Arsenal, making the final than Benfica making the final. Realistically.
Sure, they have a much better team.
They have a better.
I think it's definitely more important to Arsenal in the sense, the grand scheme of things, right? Right now, maybe Benfica because we're not doing well in the league. If we go out of Europa League, it's just more doom and gloom and the sky's falling and we're going to blow everything up and we're fucking terrible. Whereas for Arsenal, they went through a lull. They were doing well, but it won't be as impactful in the immediate state. But this is Arsenal's ticket to you.
If we go out to Benfica in this round, Mike, the fucking world will come to an end for Arsenal fans. Like, this is a very, very volatile fan base. And I don't just mean volatile towards the negative. It's volatile towards the positive. It's like opposite. It's like world politics at the moment, right? It's like you're either far right or you are far left, and the truth probably exists. The truth exists somewhere in the middle where like logic and forethought exist. So if Arsenal lose this and if Arsenal bail out now to Benfica, which, like I said, I don't think is beyond the realms of possibility. People in the comments saying, 5-0 to Arsenal. So I don't think that that's necessarily the way it's going to go. But in the scheme of things, I look at it and I'm like, and this is no slight on Benfica, but Benfica being a Champions League team who probably is going to be one of the weaker teams in their Champions League spots, just historically over the last period of time as the Portuguese league has kind of dipped. If they get knocked out of Europa, I don't see it as maybe being the biggest thing. It's maybe a culmination of a poor season. If Arsenal get knocked out of Europa, it's the fucking end of life as we know it as Arsenal fans. And I'm going to have to deal with the 4 billion people on Twitter and their Arteta out and all of the conspiracies. Don't forget as well, the refs are against Arsenal, right? So
they're against Benfica too, so we're fucked.
The conspiracies about Arsenal and refs and VAR and stuff at the moment is wild as well. So look, like I said, boys, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it feels to me like an old Champions League tie. That's what feels nice to me. Benfica has traditionally been in and around the Champions League. Arsenal's been in and around the Champions League. It's nice to have two teams who are both, formerly quite big in their leagues who have maybe dipped a little bit. But it's exciting for me not to be going to butt fuck nowhere Stan and playing on a pitch where they take the fucking cows out to graze at halftime.
No, I agree. It should be a fun match for sure.
What gives me hope in one way is Benfica doesn't do too bad against English clubs, and somehow history-wise, it does not. So maybe they do get the hang of Jesus has been Everton. Tottenham.
I was going to say your manager's record is quite good against English teams as well, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but I don't trust this team, so my 3-1.
Yeah, this year it's a different story, but you never know. I mean, we've pulled some games that just out of nowhere, so they're just far and few between. So I don't know if this could be one of them, but it's gonna be tough.
We'll see.
It's gonna be tough.
All right, Max, here's your invitation for joining us next week to recap this match.
I'll be here, boys. I'm back in lockdown in Australia.
Right.
Third lockdown.
Crazy.
So I've got nothing but time.
All right, good. So you'll be able to join us, and I want your iconic beer opening next week on the podcast. Yep. I was watching your podcast with Toby, and you did it again. So we got to have that next week. Make sure you got one.
Yeah, I'm better when I'm sober as a pundit, but I think I'm definitely more entertaining as a drunk.
Yeah, exactly. We want entertainment. All right, boys. Well, thank you for joining us. Thanks for everyone in the chat and the comments. It was a good one. We will see you back next week. Hopefully we'll be some more cheerful and a little bit happier, and Max will be a little bit disappointed, but he's a realist, so he expects the worst. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and we will catch you guys next week. See you, boys.
See you, man.
Take it easy. Thanks, Max.
Cheers, boys.